Hello friends, welcome to Insight Learners. So in this video we shall learn the introduction to Python. So learning a Python programming language, it's a joy, and let's see how to learn Python programming language easily. So what's the difference between the other programming language and why Python made us easy. So it is easy to learn. So first we shall learn the history of Python. How did the Python language came into existence? So the first thing is the history of a Python. So the Python, it laid its foundation in the late year 1980s. So in the year 1980, the Python program came into existence. So the foundation of the Python program was done in the year 1980. So next thing is that the implementation. Later, the implementation of a Python was made, and this was started in the year December. In the December 1989. So December 1989, they started the implementation of a Python, and this was done by the Guido van Rossum. So Guido van Rossum, he is the founder of the Python programming language, and this was done in the year. So the implementation of Python program, it was done in the year December 1989 by Guido van Rossum in Netherlands. So in Netherlands, it was been implemented. So next thing is that then once the implementation is done, the programming language was published. So the programming language was published in the year. So it was published in February 1991. So the Python programming language was published by Guido van Rossum. So Python program was published. So Python program was published by Guido van Rossum in the year February 1991. So then once the Python programming language was established and it was published, then later the new versions of Python came into existence. So the first version of Python that came into existence was in the year 1994. So the Python 1.0 came into existence. So Python 1.0 was released, and it had a new features. So once the new version of Python programming language was introduced, and it had various features like it can be the lambda features, comma, then map, as well as filter and reduce. And these were the features that was introduced in the further version, that is Python 1.0. Then later, so in 1994, Python 1.0 came into existence. And then next thing is that once 1.0 came into existence, then there was Python 2.0. So Python 2.0, it again added new features to this existence Python language. So this feature, it included the various feature like it added the list as well as the garbage collection was the new feature that was added for the Python 2.0. So then once Python 1.0 came with new features like lambda, map, filter and reduce, then Python 2.0 with list as well as garbage collection were the new features which were added. Then later the Python 3.0 came into existence in December 2008. So December 2008, the new features of again the Python, that is 2.0. 3.0 was released. So Python 3.0 was released. So Python 3.0, it was released. So it was released in the December 2008. And then after that, there was a programming language that is ABC. So ABC, it's a programming language and it is the predecessor of Python language. Means before the Python language, the ABC programming language was introduced, and it's similar to that of Python. So next thing is we need to see why the name Python was given by the person, that is Guido van Rossum. Why did he give the name as Python? So first we shall see why name Python. So why name Python was given. So they could keep any name, but why the name specific Python was given? So there is a story behind that. The fact is that for purpose of choosing the name Python is the Guido van Rossum, he was reading a script of the popular. He was reading a script. So that is the Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum, he was reading. So he was reading a script. He was reading a script. He was reading a script, and the name of the script was named as. So the name of a script is Monty Python's. Monty Python's. It was a popular. So Monty Python's Flying Circus. So this was the popular book, and Monty Python. So Monty Python's Flying Circus. So it is one of the popular book which the Guido van Rossum he was reading the script of it's a comedy series. So it's a BBC comedy series, and he was reading a script that is Monty Python's Flying Circus. And the founder, that is the Guido van Rossum, he wanted to select a name which is unique. Therefore, so he decided to select the name from this comedy series, that is from this script, that is the Monty Python Flying Circus. So upon reading the script, he thought that he could name the programming language as a Python. So therefore he named the programming language as Python. So this is what it came into his mind. So he was reading a script named Monty Python's Flying Circus, and it is one of the popular BBC comedy series. And he wanted to keep the name of a programming language which is unique. So therefore he named the programming language as Python. So we learned what is the history of the Python programming language and why the name Python was given. So the foremost we need to learn is what are the features of Python language and how this Python language it is different from other programming language. Like it can be C, C++ or Java. So Python, it is again object-oriented programming language. So everything in a Python, it is considered to be the objects. So now we shall learn the Python features. So what features made it different from other language, and how did this Python language become more popular? Because nowadays the Python programming language, it is used everywhere. Like it is used in machine learning, data science. So it has been a foundation for various languages. So first you need to learn a Python. Even though if you want to build any web application, you need to learn a Django framework. But before that you need to know the Python programming. Then even for learning machine learning, Python is the basic foundation. Similarly, you can be a data scientist or you can learn data science. So for everything you need to learn is the Python. So first we shall see. So it has various features, and this made the Python programming language more easy for everyone to learn, and it has various features. So we shall learn each feature in detail. So first and the foremost, the feature of Python is that it is easy. So easy to learn and use. So everyone wishes to go for the programming language which is easy to learn. So first it should make everyone to learn, and it should be easy. So therefore the Python, it is easy to learn. And the next thing is syntax. So the syntax of Python, it is easy. So the main thing is that syntax of Python, it is similar to that of English language. So however you write a English language or you read English language, so the syntax of Python programming, it is similar to that of a syntax of English language, so that it is easy to read, and more thing is that it's easy to code. Therefore the Python programming, it is easy to learn, and the syntax, so the syntax, it is similar to, so the syntax is same as that of English language. So the second thing why it made is there is no semicolon. So first thing is there is no semicolon, as well as there is no any braces. So there is no curly braces. But in if you look into other programming language, you have semicolon and you have curly braces. So you need to write a blocks of code within the braces. So there is no curly braces. And next thing is that there is no class. And here only you need to include is that you need to include. So only thing you need to include in Python is that you need to include the indentation. So indentation is mandatory while you are writing the Python programming. So while you are doing a Python programming, you need to include indentation, and the indentation, it defines the code blocks in Python. So defines the code blocks in Python. So this is what it made unique. So therefore you can say Python, it's the syntax, it is similar to that of English language. As you read the English sentences, so that you can write a Python program, and there is no semicolon, no need to worry of semicolon, no curly braces. You can directly write the code beautifully, and the structure of Python programming, it is really beautiful, and there is no class. And the only thing you need to include is the indentation, which defines the code blocks. And next we shall see the second feature of Python, which made easier, is the its expressive language. So the main thing that made Python program is that it is the main feature is expressive language, because the Python, it is, you can express that language, means you can write the Python program within few lines of code. So therefore Python reduces the lines of code. So it reduces the lines of code. So we shall see how it reduces the line of code. Suppose if you want to print a, so whenever you learn any programming language, you begin with printing hello world. So in Python it is really simple. So just you need to include a print method, followed by you can write the string within a single quote, double quote or triple quote. It depends on you. So we shall write within a single quote. So hello followed by world. So hello followed by world, with then no need to add any semicolon or anything. So within a single statement you can write the print statement. But when you go to other languages like Java or anything, you need to, so in order to print a hello world, you need to include a class, then you need to include a main method, then you need to include the print statement. So it is really really, it increases the length of code. So but Python, you can say it's an expressive language, and it reduces the lines of code. So therefore in a single line you can write a print statement. So therefore it reduces the lines of code. Therefore you can say that Python, it is one of the expressive language. Next feature of Python is that it is interpreted. So it is interpreted language. So interpreted, it means that we have an interpreter, and when you write a source code, and you need to first, you are going to write a source code, and the source code, it will be of .py extension. So .py extension, so you need to give the .py extension once you write a code. So the source code, it's in a .py extension, and then this source code, it is been converted by an interpreter from source code. The interpreter, it acts, so we have an interpreter which converts the source code to the machine code, and it gives the output to the program. So there is just an interpreter which works between the source code as well as machine code. So interpreter, it converts the source code to the machine code and gives the output to the program. So interpreter, it executes a line, it executes each line of code, and therefore you can say the Python is an interpreted language. So that is, it executes one line at a time, and it makes the debugging easy. So you can say that it's an interpreter. So we have an interpreter, and which converts the source code to the machine code. Whereas in other languages like Java, initially we have both compiler as well as interpreter in Java. So compiler converts the source code to the bytecode. Again, the bytecode is executed by an interpreter. Then it converts to the, so interpreter converts it to the machine code. And but in Python you have just an interpreter, so in which it converts the source code to the machine code. So next feature of Python is that it's a cross-platform language. So Python is a cross-platform language. So cross-platform means that the Python, it runs on different platforms, such as it can be Windows, Linux, Unix. It runs on any platform. That is, it runs on any platform. Like it can be Windows, or it can be Unix, or it can be Linux. So it runs on any of the platforms. Therefore you can say that it's a cross-platform language. And since it runs on any platform, it is called as, so it is portable language. So you can say that it is portable language. So the next feature of Python programming is it is free and it's open source. So you can write the Python programming. It's a free to use, and it has various IDE which you can use it freely in order to write your code. You can execute the code anything. So it is free and it's open source. So it is free and open source. So the Python, it is freely available and it can be downloaded. So the Python is freely available. So it is free because the Python is freely available. So you can easily download the Python from just python.org. So there is a link that is python.org. So you can directly download the Python from python.org. So you can download the current version. So now currently Python 3.9 is been there. So you can download it easily. So you can say that the Python is freely available. So it's freely available. So next thing is that it's open source. So we have seen why it is free, because it is freely available and you can easily download it from python.org, and the current version of 3.9 is available. You can download it. So next thing is the open source. So open source, it means that it is open to everyone, that everyone can download its source code without paying an amount. So it is open. So it's open source. It means everyone can download its a source code without paying amount. So it can, without paying amount, you can easily download any source code. Without paying the amount, you can download the source code. So this is how the Python is different from other language. So next thing is that the next feature of Python programming language is that it's object-oriented programming. So as you know that Python, it's object-oriented programming, in which everything in Python, it is considered to be objects. So it is a object-oriented language. So Python is an object-oriented programming language, and here everything is considered as objects in Python. And why it is object-oriented means, so if it is object-oriented language, then it should support the features like inheritance, encapsulation, and polymorphism. These are the main concept in object-oriented language. So therefore, all the object-oriented programming languages, they support. So it supports the inheritance. Then next thing is polymorphism, as well as polymorphism, as well as the inheritance, polymorphism, as well as the encapsulation. So these are the main features of the object-oriented programming language. And object-oriented procedure, it helps us to write. So the main use of object-oriented language is that, so it helps. So what it helps is, it helps us to write reusable code. So it helps us to write reusable code, and helps to develop applications with less code. So with the less code, it helps us to develop the applications with the less code. We can develop many applications with Python programming language, and main thing is that it reduces the code. So everyone, they look for the language which we can write the code easily. So with the help of Python, the lines of code is reduced. And the next feature of Python is that it is extensible. So it has the ability. So extensible means you can extend it. So it has the ability. So it has ability to add things to the interpreter. You can easily add the things to the interpreter. So then the next feature of Python programming language is that it is embeddable. So you can say it is embeddable. So it can embed the other language into our code. So it can embed other language to our code. So you can embed other language to our code. So then the next feature is that it supports various GUI. So GUI programming support. So this programming language, it supports various GUI programming. So there are various GUI programming that can be used. So that can be used with Python. So the first thing is that it is used for developing various desktop applications, and therefore you need to use a GUI to build the desktop applications. So at the backend, you're going to use a Python to code, but at the you need some GUI, right? So in order to build a GUI, you need to learn various GUI is available. Like it can be Tkinter, it is one of the GUI, and then with the help of a Django, you can learn it and build various web applications. So Tquinter as well as the PyQts. So these are the libraries that are used for developing applications. So for developing the web applications, these are various libraries. So next thing is that the next feature of Python programming is that the main feature is the dynamic memory allocation. So dynamic memory allocation, it is one of the feature of Python programming language, whereas other languages like Java, it's a static language, statistically typed language, whereas Python, it's a dynamically typed language. So dynamic memory allocation is that the Python, there is no need to specify the data type for a variable. So there is no need to specify data type for a variable. So data type for a variable, so no need to specify the data type for a variable. So without specifying the data type, you can directly declare it. So without specifying the data type for a variable, it will automatically assign the memory to the variable at runtime. Therefore, it is referred as a dynamic memory allocation. So that is directly you can write x equal to 50. So no need to externally or no need to explicitly write the data type for a variable. So this feature makes the Python more easy. So next thing is that the multi-paradigm. So multi-paradigm. So multi-paradigm is that C is a procedure-oriented programming language. This Java is a object-oriented programming language. So with C you can just build the procedure-oriented. So they have specific applications which can be built only through C with Java, but Python. So with the help of a Python, the variety of applications can be built using the Python. So this therefore it is multi-paradigm. And next thing is that you can say Python as it is object oriented, procedure oriented, functionally typed, scripting based, and all type of programs can be built using Python. So therefore it is referred as multi-paradigm programming language. So these are the unique features of Python language. So in this video we have learned the history, how did the Python language came into existence, and the father of Python programming language is Guido van Rossum, and it was published in the year 1991, and in 1994 the Python 1.0, the new version of Python, was available with various features like lambda, map, filter and reduce. And Python 2.0 came into existence with new features like list garbage collection. In 2008, Python 3.0 was released, and now the current version of Python is 3.9. And then why the name Python was given? Because the father of Python, he was reading a book named Monty Python's Flying Circus, and it's one of the popular comedy BBC series. So in order to give the unique programming language name, so he named it as Python. So then various features of Python. First thing is it is easy to learn because the syntax of Python, it's like English-like language. There is no semicolon, no class, no main method. So just you no need to explicitly include the main method, but internally the Python has a main method. And next thing is the main thing is that you need to include an indentation while you are writing the code. Next thing is that it's an expressive language, because expressive means you can express the Python language because it reduces the lines of code. So within a single line you can print a hello world statement which is different from other language. Then it's interpreted. So because there is an interpreter which directly converts the source code to the machine code. And next thing is cross-platform language, because it's a portable, because you can run the Python programming language on any platform like Windows, Unix, Linux. Therefore, it's portable and it's free and open source. Python is freely available and you can easily download it from python.org. And it's open source because you can easily download its source code from various things without paying the amount. Next thing is it's object-oriented language. Since it's an object-oriented programming language, everything in Python is considered to be objects. It supports inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and since it uses the concept of these, you can write a reusable code, and this helps to develop various applications with few code. Then it is extensible because it has the ability to add the new things to the interpreter. Then embeddable, you can easily embed the other language to our code. Then it supports it has various libraries for GUI programming support like tkinter, pyqts. So these are the libraries. And the main feature is dynamic memory allocation. So Python is a dynamically typed language, and here no need to specify explicitly the data type for a variable. You can directly assign the value to the variable. Then it's a multi-paradigm because all type of programs can be built using Python. It can be procedure oriented, object oriented, functionally typed, or scripting based. All type of programs can be built using Python. So this is how the Python programming made easier. So in the next video we shall learn the applications of Python. So thank you friends for watching, and do subscribe our channel for more updates.